to stand on their own, if they want to all rally around that one hero, that one ideally melee hero who's going to be empowered, who's going to be babysat by the Bane, then that is going to be a reasonable strat for Infamous. I mean, that's kind of the strat that they've been implementing as we've seen them in their previous games around Eternal Envy. So get Bane, just making sure that Envy has a decent time in that lane, give Envy Empower at some point in the game, and just let him farm things. It seems to be just like the MO of Infamous gaming as a whole. Grimstroke also another hero that's in the pool. I would say like another hero that can do that very, very well. Like if you grab Grimstroke instead of that Bane, have him babysit the Envy hero, that could get a lot of work done as well.
5 seconds
I can see that actually being pretty sick. I don't think I've seen Grimstroke mag because I haven't seen any mag because he's always banned out. But being able to just bind two people together and then keep them very close to one another. And obviously you get double spellcasts, right? And that's like the big upside of Soulbind. But keeping two heroes penned together up against Magnus for like a skewer or an RP that is really, really easy to land on both heroes, I can see that being really, really powerful. Probably not at this point. But if it was a different draft, it could have been pretty nuts. Already mentioned it, Undying, probably a pretty high pick here for Infamous Young. We did get to see a decent amount of gameplay from Infamous Young yesterday. They did drop 2-0, but the games were not super convincing. They were very closely contested. Infamous Young had really, really powerful early games. Like, they were doing everything right. And then it really came down to the mid game. They got a little bit too aggressive with some of their heroes. There seemed to be miscommunication. They mismanaged their team fights. Their Roshan approach was really, really... it was pretty bad. They didn't approach Roshan in a good fashion. So, yeah, here's hoping that Infamous Young kind of have learned from their mistakes, because their early games, every single time, was just amazing. They came out of the early game, like, several kills in the lead, and then they just started making questionable decisions. So, I hope that they're going to kind of stick on a little more of a consistent pattern here, as Grimstroke will be picked up, and Io's still in the pool? Well, would you look at that? I didn't know that Io was still in the pool. Did you guys know that Io is a really powerful hero in general? The only kind of awkward thing, maybe it's awkward, maybe it's not, is that Io Gyro is like the best combo. And Gyro Magnus with Empower, you don't get the cleave, but that's like, whatever, man. You still do extra damage, you're still overcharged, you're still going to be dropping bombs. It's going to be fine. Now, Infamous Young have already a pretty decent set of heroes up against Io. I would say all three of these heroes they've selected are really good up against Io in particular, and also up against the expected Io Gyrocopter. Again, keep them together. Winter Wyvern with the curse is one of the easiest ways to deal with an Io combo. Just curse the Io, and usually Io doesn't survive. Centaur is not bad, being able to disengage or engage on an Io relocate, and of course Grimstroke has just all the answers in the world as far as answering that Io, because Soulbind is the easiest thing to land. Whoa, new hero PogChamp. Now, SA is known for their slightly above average love of Pangolier. There are regions that'll never touch that hero, but SA is definitely not one of them. That being said, we haven't seen any Pangolier in this qualifier, and I want to say in the major qualifier as well. If there have been any Pangoliers, they haven't really been amazing, at least not like super noteworthy. But still a very, very disruptive hero, really regardless of what you do with him, how you farm him. The issue is that Pangolier is in a really weird farm spot. Usually Pango is going to be taking that off-lane farm position. You can apply a decent amount of pressure, and with your mobility, because of that swashbuckle, because of that crash, like, you usually just don't die ever. And that's kind of nice, having a hero that just never dies. But Centaur also does that. So, are they really running a Pangolier Centaur as their two cores? I'm not really sure if that's going to be the most powerful. Pangolier can do a lot of damage, but we very rarely see him build in such a way that lets him do that damage. Like, if you're playing Pangolier, I would say in a pro game, you're probably not going to be going like Javelins, Maelstrom, stuff like that. You can. We've seen that a lot, but it seems like a little more of a pub build. They need the damage output right now. Like, Centaur does only okay damage, so does Grimstroke. Pangolier, you kind of don't want to build that way, but you kind of have to, I feel, in this regard. I'm a fan of watching Pangolier. Hero is fun as hell to watch, but just he has a really awkward spot in his own team. I would say against Infamous, this Pangolier has a pretty decent position. Just being able to roll around freely, it just completely screws over the Bane. Makes the assuming Io Gyrocopter, makes that combo really hard to operate with as well. Simply because he's always going to be bouncing through you, and all of those little mini stuns or whatever knock-up things you get from the Rolling Thunder, that it really adds up. It really takes its toll. So I don't mind the Pangolier, but it does seem like they kind of have to make it work. Right now, though, it seems like it's just going to be an Io for Io's sake, which isn't bad yet. We'll see what the combo is going to be, what type of combos there are going to be, as Infamous decide to go for, most likely, this mid lane Tomato Lina. And you know what? I don't really see Lina being in that much trouble here, because who can possibly lane against her? Probably Grimstroke has like the best chance of having a decent lane versus Lina amongst these heroes. But even then, Lina should have a pretty decent time. I mean, we saw a Grimstroke core yesterday, and it worked out. They won. So it was an off-lane Grimstroke. It was not mid. Not really sure if that's something that they're going to be interested in right now. But it's a possibility, I suppose. Lina, for the most part, is very, very hard to mess up. We've seen Tomato kind of shaky yesterday. He had a couple of games where he just got absolutely bodied, like just demolished, and a couple of games where he was just like making some questionable plays, like, well, here comes Tomato into 5 heroes and he's dead now. So giving him this Lina, which is maybe gonna smooth over this little bit of a rough patch that Tomato's in, definitely seems like a safer execution play there for Infamous. Like, who's actually gonna pressure a Lina mid lane? None of these heroes.
10 seconds
They take out like a TA or something like that, get rid of one of Lina's worst matchups,
5 seconds
then they're golden. I mean, they've already taken down the Pugna, who's just been an absolute menace in the South American mid lanes. Every single time, just seems like he's just smashing his lanes. They'll take out the Puck instead. It's another hero that Lina doesn't really like outright lose to, but the lane is a lot more hotly contested. So the Monkey King will be kicked out. They're looking for an IO partner with Magnus, ideally. Only 2 melee heroes on the Infamous Young side, so, cleave for value, not going to be nuts. You can go for Juggernaut here and just be happy. Ooh, a Void. An Envy Void. Okay, we haven't really seen that much Void either. I think this is actually the first time he was able to get through. We've seen a couple of bans, but this is pretty interesting. Now, he isn't as splashy as a Gyrocopter. Wow, a Medusa as well. Okay. Yeah, Infamous Young are really on this 4 protect 1 type of strat here. But yeah, Void. He's not quite as splashy as a Gyrocopter, and by that I mean when you join a fight, your immediate contributions are going to be a little bit more questionable, a little bit less guaranteed. If you can land a great Chronosphere, then man, go ahead and do that. You're not going to be upset that you did. But it's a lot harder to just arrive in a fight and then get amazing Chronospheres. Usually that doesn't really happen, especially when you have to battle through all of this other stuff, like silences from Grimstroke, Winter Wyvern, who's going to be cursing you upon arrival, like every single time, a Stampede to disengage away from a Faceless Void. Forcing these fights from Infamous Young, forcing these fights on Infamous's side, Infamous Dire side, versus Infamous Young is going to be really tough. Like, Infamous Young's disengage is really, really clean. Just Stampede away. And then Faceless Void just like, well, I can Chronosphere this one guy. I really don't want to be doing that, but maybe I have to. Really hard to catch Pangolier. Really hard to Chronosphere and kill Medusa. Because she gets that Stone Gaze off, and she may be in the Chronosphere, but you can't actually do much to her. This Faceless Void does seem like he's in a decent spot synergy-wise. Lina outside the Chronosphere is really powerful. Mag is not as much so, but he has just all the time in the world at that point to set up, or even skewer people into the Chrono. We've seen that executed before as well. Io Void is potentially really powerful. I would say, given these matchups of Infamous, this is not a duo that's going to be raffle stomping everything, because Faceless Void just doesn't do that. Even when he does get a little bit of extra bonus towards that time lock, a little extra movement speed to keep up with your opponents, you're still hitting like some really, really durable heroes. It's going to be a little bit tough. So yeah, for Infamous, this Faceless Void pick is a little bit of a question mark. Although I do think they have what it takes to make it work. the ease of execution is definitely in the hands of Infamous Young. Their heroes kind of just are built to be resilient. And Infamous, I'm not sure if they have enough pressure early on to make sure that this Medusa is actually pressured. You can tell, I mean, this is a Medusa game. This is a game where they're just going to be chilling, waiting around for their Medusa, and then having her just win the game for them. Faceless Void can challenge the Medusa pretty darn well. But that's only in the late game scenario, and if it's in the late game scenario already as Infamous, if that happened, you're not feeling too good about your game. Take a look at how these lanes are going to actually break down. Centaur in this safe lane, and it's a Pangolier Grimstroke on the top lane, with the build that I've seen Enigmas go for, which is Mass Mankos. A lot of regen, enough mana. It actually works out pretty reasonably, although it looks absolutely ridiculous. So Centaur safe lane. I feel like Mag should have like the easiest time ever. With Bane, with IO, doesn't really matter. That's not to say that Centaur's gonna have a bad time. This bottom lane should be almost entirely a wash. And this top lane, I would expect it to be fairly even as well. Envy may have some difficulty fighting back against this Grimstroke. Like, really, really difficult to get out from a Grimstroke ever with that Inkswell. Especially when it's someone as sticky as a Pangolier. So he may be in for a little bit of a beating, but you know, we've seen Envy get farm out of lanes where he should be getting absolutely no farm. This is just going to be a slightly tougher one for him. Plus you have IO, so getting that additional bit of sustain, maybe just able to tank out this harassment on top lane. Courier, here it comes. He has the salve. Dog. Oh my dog, no. Oh my dog, no. Okay, well, this dog is fine because Moose just went over here and then he left. And now they're like, well, shit, there's the courier. Okay, well, lucky dog gets to escape. Gets to live another day. Which I feel like probably shouldn't have happened. Man, if you deny that courier away from Robo, even if he gets his salve delivered, this lane becomes just really, really hellish versus that Lina. You take non-stop nukes, and the nuke that you can throw back is finicky at the very least. You can already see, like, Medusa is already kind of getting shoved into her tower. Base damage-wise, Medusa isn't terrible, but, you know, you're comparing yourself to a Lina who's going to get the null talismans, who's going to be dropping some serious bombs on you. That's no fun for a Medusa. At least she has the courier, right? At least she has that for her. They're just going to be brawling on this top lane. This is going to be so much better once Envy gets past level 1. Right now, this is, I mean, Faceless Void's damage isn't bad, but yeah, you're competing up against a heavy support hero in Grimstroke. Whereas your support hero is just a, I'm going to heal you type hero. And when they line up for those strokes, like those 2 strokes of fate, and both of them hit 2 heroes, like that's rough times, man. Your regeneration is going to be dropping very quickly. Snaking getting body blocked. He does tether his way through. The damage, though, is way too much. And with the stroke of fate, they kill off Snaking. That looked just kind of unfortunate, honestly. Like, that just looked kind of unlucky. Like, I'm just going to retreat. Oh, wait, there's creeps in my way? That sucks, man. Like, there really shouldn't be a situation where you get body blocked like that from random creep waves that are moving around. So, bad beats for Snaking, for sure. Easy first blood on the Infamous Young side. Like, look how much deficit there already is. Like, the lanes have barely started. Already, Robo's is starting to fall behind. He is going to get a regeneration room, which is quite nice. But this matchup for Tomato is so easy. It's so clean. There's never really a point where Lina's like, oh no, I'm scared of this Medusa. It's, in fact, exactly the opposite. It just gets worse for Medusa as this lane progresses. I like seeing Tomato actually have a lane where he's able to find some success. It was very weird yesterday to see him getting crushed as hard as he was. It just seemed like very out of character for him. Over in the bottom lane, it's exactly what you would expect. Everyone's farming. Probably not going to be that much action. Only scenario I see is if, like, this happens and you get skewered back into tower range. But Centaur really shouldn't be getting hit by that. I mean, there it is, but that's not tower range. That still forces a TP. That's not bad. So the Centaur is just going to teleport right back to the creeps, chug down the salve, but I mean, for the amount of mana they expend there, to get a TP out of it, to get that free damage, that's some pretty value play from Infamous. another two-man stroke. EE is just going to time walk it off, but Whisper chasing forward with the stun onto Snaking. Inkswell showing off what it can do, as IO will be fine to back off most likely. EE is still just rocking that Grimstroke, but he got 0 bashes, so never lucky. Dude, have you ever bashed before in your life? Come on.
Nothing for you.
This time lock is broken. This time lock is broken. Hey, there it is. It works. With the IO Spirits, looks like it was just in time. Whisper is down. It was all calculated by Envy. He has another time walk. He is going to take a pretty big stroke hit, but it looks like he's going to go down. He didn't time walk. Real greedy trying to get that kill, and that's Snaking going to die afterwards as well. So it's a clean sweep on the top lane. I was like, yeah, he'll just time walk right behind Grimstroke. Nothing personal, kid him, and then be on his way. But I guess he figured he was okay, and he just miscalculated, I guess. It happens. It happens. They still get 2 kills. It is just going to be a 2-for-2 trade, so a whole bloodbath in the top lane. Envy's going to return and just happily CS, so, you know, pretty much no harm, no foul. And those spirits really crushing this Grimstroke here. That feel when you're Grimstroke and you're being forced out of lane by an IO, or you're anyone and being forced out of lane by the IO. Ooh, Inkswell. Envy does grab the bounty rune. All calculated again, but oh, the stroke onto the IO, taking so much damage. Has a fairy fire, but that's all this IO has to survive. Another stroke in 2 seconds. Snaking will fairy fire. Here it comes. Batter up. Does land, but the bash keeps Whisper back. I think the IO should be okay. Another swashbuckle. 37 HP. And with the Tango regen. Oh, the stroke. Oh, it's just short. Ooh, that was like 100 range short of being a kill. Monka frickin' S. But now they're going to turn things around. A little bit of slows into Whisper. EE still chasing forward. Is going to time walk forward, just hoping for that first hit bash. That is ambitious, to say the least. But overall, just damage being traded on top lane. Not many casualties this time. Not many casualties this time. A lot of casualties in total. But yeah, Medusa, she has her Wraith Bands. And that's kind of nice for her. But there's level 6 on the Lina now with 3 nulls. She's probably going to have the full combo up mana-wise for... Okay, she's always going to have it up. She found a regen rune. I feel when you chug a Clarity and then immediately find a regen rune, that feels pretty bad, man. But now they're looking for Robo. This is just going to be a walk into you and gank you type of plan. And something that Robo completely sees, so this probably isn't going to be successful. But you know what? This is fine. Usually if you move around like that as your offlane support, your offlane is going to be kind of punished. That's not really the case here. Mag doesn't really have much to fear in this bottom lane, so he's just going to be existing as per usual. And this lets Moose kind of move around wherever he wants. So much so, in fact, that they actually scared the Medusa cleanly out of the lane. Is now forced to go into the jungle. Jungling with 1 point split shot, 3 Wraith Bands isn't really the best thing in the world, but you could certainly do it pretty decently. You don't want to be doing this, though. You'd rather be in the lane, and it just isn't a safe spot for him. Just running into Medusa in the jungle, just gonna walk right on by. Bye, Medusa. We're just gonna walk by here. Looks like a necessary evil here for Robos because it's just such a dangerous lane. Like, look at that. Threw out a snake, so he's gonna get a lot of this mana back. A lot of it back. It actually did connect onto D'Amato. But he knows that there's a Bane lurking in his top jungle. He doesn't know it, but he's also being spotted by these dire obs as well. Not a safe place to be if you're Medusa. No real safe spots on the map. I like that pressure that the Bane is applying. I mean, it is like air quotes pressure because it's just a level 3 Bane. He can't really do anything to kill a level 7 Medusa. Not even close. Like, best case scenario, you block a couple of her camps. You get vision of her so that like a Invis rune Lina or something can do something afterwards. Oh, Snaking. He's gonna get somebody Inkswell, but still alive. The Spirit is on him. The Phantom, rather. And Whisper trying desperately to get the kill, but he gets bashed. And now the TP comes in, bringing in the heavy that is Tomato. Gets EE another kill, so Tomato probably not feeling great about how that went for him, but it's great for the team. Absolutely great for the team. Snaking just debating every which way as that supposedly soft and tasty IO.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But this combo, Pangolier, Grimstroke, we can see how powerful it is in theory. Like being able to just run in, crash in, get into some hero's range, 1 or 2 heroes, and then get the Inkswell stunned so you can right click afterwards. You can already see, picked up that lucky shot already. Rip Heart Piercer, right? Unfortunately, just a little bit short. A little bit short that time. Okay, well this lane is maybe going to get a little bit worse for the Magnus because there's a Vanguard on the Centaur, but EE is here. First hit bash, second hit bash, all calculated. RP dragging him into the tower, and they're going to get a little bit of CS in the meantime because of that cleave. There is a Lina here as well, who's going to be cleaning up, so Tomato finally gets his dues. That is an expensive rotation for 4 heroes to go down to the bottom lane, but ultimately all worth it. Like using RP and a Laguna Blade, that's fine, man, because you still have the big one, which is going to be that Chronosphere. Now, Robos knows there was a lot of heroes in the bottom lane that he now currently doesn't see. Is he going to be fooled by this? He does see Moose, who get a little bit too close. Chronosphere does land, but that's in tower range. Envy, I'm not sure about this one, dude. Time to leave. Schofield's going to arrive into an LSA. Actually picked up Enfeeble, so that's a... I didn't think this was the build for Bane. Status resistance reduction. Actually, that could be kind of sick, like with bashes. That could be kind of cool. And of course, you know, LSA, RP, stuff like that. Seems really, really narrow, but situationally really awesome. Oh, snaking. Gotta be careful. Phantom is on him now, but there is help. The Bane has arrived. Brain Sap Stampede is out. They just put the Pangolier to sleep, and Snaking somehow is still alive. He completely dodges those pokes from the Pangolier, and Envy now is going to get rolled in on twice. That has a time walk. He can't get it out in time. Had stick charges, but tried to time walk first. And it's going to be a 2 kill on top lane as Centaur shows himself from bottom. A little bit of revenge for him.
Dire's structures are fortified. Dire's top tower is under attack.
It's an expensive loss there for Infamous. Losing your Faceless Void ever really sucks, but ooh, maybe this will make up for it because there's a haste rune on Lina. Immediately there goes the Grimstroke, and Whisper is going to cower in the trees. Does have a TP, but so he does jump through. Is there an RP? Oh, 6 seconds! Feels bad, man. Pepita just a couple seconds off from getting that kill with the RP. That's another 4-man rotation up towards top lane. And that, of course, means that Centaur's chilling on bottom. Tower taking that retaliate damage and probably going to fall here to Centaur. It will. Even mid lane, Robo having to deal with no one in mid just pushes that tower in. Maybe not quite as much damage on that tower, but still, it's free time for the Medusa where no one's on him. Like, at least they get these kills, but... move around with that many heroes, you kind of need to get more than single kills on random supports. That's just not good enough, man. They do have that other RP now. And LSA, I keep saying LSA. Laguna Blade has a relatively low cooldown for ultimates. Chronosphere up as well. Infamous do have everything they need to fight. And make no mistake, even though they do have Empower and an IO, Faceless Void, Lina late game, it's all really powerful. They are kind of the ones who have to apply pressure to this Medusa. Sitting back and farming doesn't seem like a winning prospect over the super long term.
Dire are scanning.
Illusion.
Rope on EE. Oh, unfortunate. Backtrack the stroke, gets hit by a full swashbuckle. Yeah, I'm actually surprised that they were able to change this description in this ability to this ability name.
Dire's middle
Are my
tower
expectations
is
for
under
Valve
attack.
too low? Perhaps. Perhaps they are. Shadowblade. Tomato actually shows off the Shadowblade build. That's... I mean, we very frequently see, like, probably Slark getting Shadowblade the most. Usually it's just nothing in his inventory, at least, you know, just boots and wraith bands and whatnot. And then suddenly he has that that Shadowblade. So now Infamous Young will be
is under
probably
attack.
aware of it and will be purchasing detection. Not doing it yet, but yeah, the fact that he just showed it off there, this doesn't really help you that much. This is 20 attack speed. Is that really worth the element of surprise? Probably not. Vita, though, still chilling on this bottom lane. Couple rotations from him, kind of empty, but still he's pretty close to that Blink Dagger. You can see he is falling pretty far behind that Centaur, though. Like, once that Vanguard comes up on Centaur, you can no longer do anything versus Centaur's the Magnus. It is Blink Dagger versus Blink Dagger, and right, that was just Blink Dagger on Centaur. Yeah. So he's feeling pretty good about himself, Centaur. He knows that he has an advantage in 1v1, but it ain't gonna be 1v1 because Magnus being dishonorable is not gonna take the duel. He's gonna call in some help. Shameful display. Here comes the Lina. LSA to land, and with the Laguna Blade in their back pocket, that's a dead Centaur. Skewer him and down. Back up. Whoa, okay, they even relocate. I think maybe Infamous expected more heroes to come in and back that Centaur up. It's not really super costly. It's mostly costing the fact that they just don't have relocate now. And Winter Wyvern caught, but oh, EE gets disarmed. They still get the kill. Now EE's got to get the hell out of here. Whisper is just rolling around. There aren't that many hillsides to bump into in this area anymore. And now the grip. You've wandered into the wrong neighborhood, Pangolier. Was getting caught part of your plan? It shouldn't be. Now they're onto Grimstroke as well. Oh, yep. Okay, they still got him. The Nightmare lasts forever. They have an LSA, and they're not going to miss that one. So they got him. That's what's important. That's a 3 kill for the Infamous side. For Infamous Young, they are just trying to get space for their Medusa. Fighting with that skeleton crew at all, that's a really kind of expensive decision. They knew that there was a relocate coming in, so they could expect the IO to leave, but maybe the fact that EE stuck around kind of surprised them. And that's kind of a reasonable assumption. Like, you bring a Faceless Void in, you don't really help that much in that kill. You kind of want to just yank him out and kind of reset, get him back to farming. Oh, you were debated so hard. He doesn't even get the bounty rune. And you know what? He's going to drop a really heavy bomb on Whisper, but I have a feeling that if he did not show off that Shadow Amulet beforehand, they would not have detection in this area, which means you probably get that ambush kill. Or at least the opportunity for the ambush kill. But showing your hand like that, really costing Tomato there. The fact that he didn't get the bounty rune is just insult to injury. Salt in the wound.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They'll get a tower.
Radiant structures are fortified.
That's something. And Moose is in range here to steal some EXP from the Medusa, but this Medusa starting to pick up her farm, but she's going to wander in between a rock and a hard place. They need a Void here if they're going to get this kill. They don't have enough damage with these heroes. Okay, are they going to... Yeah, they're yanking the Lina in. Here comes the Nightmare. And the relocate. LSA. Don't miss the LSA. RP. No RP because of the curse. Exactly what I was talking about. The combo breaking power of Schofield is ridiculous. He skewers back the Magnus, and with the two bound together, Centaur just double edges them all down. The Dire Courier even getting involved there. Brimstroke from the side. Holy crap, that double edge is only level 1, but looked like a level 4 ability and then some. Quick fingers from Schofield. That RP otherwise would have meant almost for sure a dead Medusa. Although Centaur goes in a little bit too far. That embrace again. Although this time there's a Chronosphere. Envy is behind him. And he's going to try to go for this Winter Wyvern. Is going to grab him and dodge Hoof Stomp, but straight into the Rolling Thunder of the Pangolier. He's going to take quite a bit of damage here, but he should be able to time walk most of it back. Now the reinforcements onto the Centaur Warrunner. Another LSA to land. He's going to fall. Chasing after Whisper now. EE. Is he fast enough to actually catch up here? With the shuffle down to the low ground, I doubt it. Whisper should be free and clear, and he will be fine. Ultimately for Infamous, that looked really bad. But they kind of salvaged that situation as Infamous Young chased a little bit too far. What does Envy have? Just value stats, man. Is there... Okay, his Courier died. I don't think there's no way for me to actually see what was on the Courier. I don't think it was anything huge. It was delivering to, like, Magnus and Bane. I don't think it was anything important. It's just casual Morbid Mask here. I mean, he's still just going to go Drums Yasha, so he'll have a lot of value stats. What is going on up here? That is a grip. RP canceled. Wait for 2 of them. Although the stomp's gonna come in. LSA lands onto 3. And Tomato's just machine gunning everyone down. But here comes the Medusa with the Stone Gaze. Petrifying 2. Grabs 2 kills. Immediately responds. Snaking. Tethering out to EE will be fine. A 2 for 2. I think slightly benefits Infamous Young there. Well, yeah, about 400 gold worth. That Medusa showing up, man. But this is definitely a different Tomato than yesterday. Tomato had a really rough day yesterday, and this time he's just being set up by all of his allies. Centaur, though, is starting to really bulk up. Pipe is not all that good here. Probably for Centaur, it's just Aghanim Scepter time. What else we got? Pangolier, moused over him a couple of times. Gonna pick up a couple of these Javelins. Just for value damage at the moment. A little bit of Diffusal Blade action. I mean, we don't really get to see this build. I guess it was just the last patch. I don't think I've seen any Pangolier this patch at all. Whereas mostly like Blink Dagger, Yule Scepter, very utility heavy on Pango. Hey, if you want to get some damage, go ahead and get some damage.
Cold wings carry me.
For Infamous, they do have most of their relevant ultimates. At least they have 2 out of the 3. But this Medusa, man, not enough pressure being applied to her. They're trying, to Infamous's credit. Like, they're looking for fights, going really deep for them.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Not
attack.
landing in the right spot. So this Medusa is just chilling with this farm. And Schofield, is there a grip? There is not. Do they have this kill anyway? There's a lot of reinforcements coming in. They're right next to the shrine, and the curse goes off into the Bane. Locks in him and Pepita, and now they're both in a lot of trouble. They get rolled in on back and forth, back and forth. They're gonna go down. EE, Chronosphere only onto 1. Can he even kill him? No, not with the Embrace. He gets nothing done. Absolutely no damage. Literally no damage. Just a little bit of mana depletion. How does it feel for your Chronosphere to be a mana burn ability? Feels terrible, man. And this Winter Wyvern being an absolute all-star here. Like what, you kill off 2 heroes because of that curse. You embrace the single Chronosphere target.
Bounty.
I mentioned it before, the disengage from Infamous Young rather, the Radiant team, that Infamous. That is like top-notch disengage. And for Infamous proper, their ability to fight kind of hinges upon landing an RP or some sort of skewer setup, or finding someone very quickly blowing them up, which is exactly what we did not see in that fight. Here comes the stealthy Lina. A little bit short on mana. She does land the stun. Needs the Laguna Blade, but the Phantom comes in. With the right clicks, though, Lina is just short. Okay, that... Whoa, look at him go! Did you see that? He was, like, tripping out there. I didn't know that happened if you grip the Pangolier. I mean, I knew he stopped. I didn't know he freaked out like that. So, yeah, Lina, Phantom Silence, but you know what? Still is fine to just right-click heroes down. Has a BKB, and that was her first charge. Pretty expensive BKB, honestly, for just a Pango kill. I say just a Pango kill. I mean, a Pango kill is really nice. But for a 10-second BKB charge... You know what? That's actually, like, not that bad. And there are some things you, like, really want to avoid. Centaur stuns. Lots of Grimstroke stuff. But, like, this pierces BKB. The really big spell from the Winter Wyvern, that pierces BKB as well, so... BKB here is kind of just okay. So that kind of means you're allowed to be fast and loose with it. Vlad's on the IO. Mech Vlad's Glimmer Cape Heart. I wonder if you can you just... Where is this ability? Purge off, dispellable, cannot be dispelled, yeah. One of the few silences, I guess, that can't be dispelled through traditional dispel means. Looking at Guardian Greaves potentially for the IO, but I guess not. RP, love that lack of hesitation from Vita. Like, you see someone there, just go for it. Although, the bashes aren't quite enough. Now the curse, onto the Magnus, EE. doing his friend dirty with the rolling thunder coming in onto all three of them, and two of them bound up in the background. Pepita's gonna fall, and the rolling Pangolier is still pushing forward. Another stomp onto EE. There was sustain from Snaking though, giving him so much juice. He's gonna try to TP out himself. Snaking's like, later Envy, you're on your own, bro. And Envy is okay with that. Puts up a wall, right? You just force them to go around the dome. I've seen better defensive Chronospheres, but yeah, despite that 3v1, it's still a Centaur Crimson you're going after. You need to just get like infinite permabashes if you're going to kill him off, and Envy just doesn't have that amount of attack speed at the moment. Plus the reinforcements from Infamous Young just coming in super quickly. Now it's going to cost them their bottom lane. But you know what? They're going to get a top tier 2, so even towers so far, but they're not done yet. This Medusa with that Dragonlance, Eye of Scotty, she's really dishing. And with no RP, no Chronosphere, what do they have to actually kill off this Lina? LSA lands. No response so far. They do drag her really far in. They need permabashes, but she gets the Stone Gaze off. There's going to be a lot of petrification in the background here as Tomato's going to cheese out Whisper. Does grab him. Another LSA onto the Medusa. She's running out of HP really quickly. They'll take down Robo, ending a 5-kill spree. Bash, bash, never lucky. Envy. Whoa, that was 4 hits. No bashes. I mean, I guess that's still kind of EV, but damn. Where are your bashes, dude? Practice on this hero. Okay, there's the bat. He gets like a triple right after. Figures, right? It always happens like that. No bash, no bash, no bash. Irrelevant bash? Yes, here's your irrelevant bash. Blink, Skewer, and Medusa making that play with no Aegis is costly. And I mentioned it in the draft before, the biggest weakness that we saw from Infamous Young in their previous matches from round 1. Their mid and late game really falls apart compared to their early game. I'm not saying that that's what's happening. I'm not saying that that is what's going to happen. I'm saying that that is something that we should all watch out for, because that has happened in the past. The Infamous proper, no huge AoE abilities there, but still good skewer management. And hey, Guardian Greaves actually going to be picked up by the mag. They have Guardian Greaves and Mechanism. I feel like this probably shouldn't be happening. Guardian Greaves is really nice up against the Pangolier now. You get anti Eye of Scotty, you get rid of this effect. That's kind of cool. And of course the Grimstroke slow. And just like a handful of slows here and there. But someone messed up here with their items. I don't think that's worth it, man. Envy hunting once again. But again, they're going into this position where there's a shrine right here. So like yeah, you could go over Grimstroke and you may get him, but you know that there's going to be a fight afterwards because of that TP location. Not really sure why they're that deep. I mean, maybe it's just to buy space for Tomato on top lane, but he's just going to get obliterated by that Centaur Pango combo. Disarmed as well. Once he's undisarmed, the right-clicking will continue. Ooh, and Snaking does have the Aghanim Scepter tether upgrade now, so this is pure damage. Sometimes pure damage. The LSA is going to be off, but doesn't matter. Just going to right-click, rush him down. Yo, LSA is a bait, man. Like it was a debate the entire time. I'm not sure if that was a pure damage Ags Laguna at the time. What else do they have? Isn't it like Empower and Aura? Isn't that? But Shockwave is upgradable by Aghanim Scepter. I am wrong, apparently. That must have been really new. This is just a lower cooldown. If you could somehow make it so that when Envy casts Chronosphere, he is tethered, that would be pretty nasty. That would be really nasty. And again, you lack this consistency in this particular game that you would ordinarily get if you were with a Gyrocopter, who just, you know, gets that side gunner, is really happy about it. But you still have some pretty explosive ultimates that you can upgrade here. Here are the IO.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Look at this move from Infamous, though. Still just chilling in the enemy jungle. Kind of far apart from one another. Knowing that they do have that relocate backup if needed. What play are they going to make with this Aegis? Are they going to make a play with this Aegis? Or are they just going to try to farm themselves a little bit more? So the Medusa is farmed as hell. If you pull her that far away from the Embrace and the Curse of the Winter Wyvern, Almost doesn't matter what she has, just because she'll be so vastly outnumbered. It doesn't seem like Infamous are really interested in making such a play. They can just, you know, lock down, like, all 3 of these jungles. I don't know why that drawing on the map is so bad. Like, just lock down all this farm space in the jungle area. And, of course, bottom lane and mid lane. Not really a super hard contain, because Infamous Young can still poke out and get some gold, but their farm rate with this Faceless Void, Empower, now an MKB, pretty nasty. He is going to trip a sentry. And looks like that was actually a dark green ping. And he's going to find himself a free Pango, but there's a disc here, so the disc is immediately going to be popped. And Stampede, it's going to help a little bit, because I think it is agged. No, not yet, actually. RP goes off onto the Medusa. Here comes the Lina. The curse is almost going to help, but the Lina is outside of that, and it's going to drop bombs onto Robo and the Courier as well. Robo is stunned forever, has so far no damage, but now with the Stone Gaze out. Petrification onto 3 as she tries to focus down onto the Lina. Centaur and Grimstroke should be able to take care of her. The grip from behind. Moose is going to hold back the Medusa, and they do make that trade. Envy is still very much so alive. He still has that Aegis of the Immortal, and he is getting all the bashes versus the Centaur. Big skewer back onto Grimstroke. Envy is just gonna lay it in with the triple kill. And Tomato, definitely the hero of Infamous there, valiantly gives his life. Valiantly gives his life so that the Medusa can kind of handle, that Medusa situation can kind of handle itself.
Radiant structures are fortified.
It's not to say that Snaking or Moose played their job poorly. They did exactly what they need to do, especially that Bane. But BKB Lina just distracting so many heroes. Whisper is just freaking out in the corner. What was that? There's still a Faceless Void on his tail, though disarmed and not quite fast enough.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Disarmed again. Man, these rolls from Pangolier quite nice against Envy so far. But he does have to be careful because Blink Skewer is still a thing. Whisper, if he gets caught with that, he's just dead, man. This time, no disarm. I mean, it's not really going to save their racks either way. This is pretty much forfeit. There goes the bottom lane. And now it's time to slide into all these other lanes. Aegis has been reclaimed, so no more of that. Take a look at these timers. 20 seconds, 13 seconds, Laguna up. Most likely for Infamous, pushing their advantage as far as going in for another set of racks. That's a little bit too much. But they have easy access to the shrines now. Plus a tier 2 on top lane, which is probably a free objective. Aghanim Scepter now up on the Centaur. Honestly, even with that 40 damage reduction, I'm not sure if that's enough to save a Pangolier in that same exact scenario down here. Because Envy was just laying into him. Like, 40% is a lot. It is a lot, but at this point, Envy with Empower is hitting pretty hard himself.
Radiant's bottom shrine is under attack.
Medusa, Butterfly, Eye of Scotty, really packing some serious heat, but has since fallen even behind the Lina. Pretty sure in a man fight, Medusa still comes out ahead, but it's not really a spot you want to be in as Medusa. Everyone else really falling behind. Putting all of their chips on this Medusa. Usually a pretty good strat, but you need to have this proper support there. You need to have the disruption there. You need to have that Stampede used to get that Medusa that additional reduction. Pretty much every play you make has to be in the context of how does this help the Medusa. And to start that fight off by trying to save not the Medusa, the Pangolier, not a good way to start that engagement. Envy pushing forward. This is going to be an angle that's going to catch Medusa on the front lines, which is fine for him. The Schofield is very well hidden. EE jumping forward. Chronospheres the Pangolier is still just going to run into him. And now he's going to get bound up. He has the BKB, so not really in so much trouble. The Pangolier is going to start rolling through absolutely everyone in the background. And Tomato now with the BKB, but they're in a really awkward spot. They can't really coordinate their plays. They do separate Schofield, but it's Robo, who's under no pressure whatsoever. He's just firing off onto Snake King. RP, though, lands onto 3. Where's the LSA follow-up? There it is, and the cleave, well, maybe not any cleaving just yet, but it doesn't matter because they've taken down the Medusa. Centaur following shortly after. Grimstroke in danger as well. Dragon Slave a little bit off, but should still be a kill. Double for Envy. That fight was chaotic as hell. That was Infamous going in and then realizing, wait, we should not be here, let's go out. But Pepita delivering with that RP.
Dire's middle
And
tower
snaking,
is under
gonna yank in Tomato. Hell, it's an MKB hero, just let him loose into the tower and Lena's gonna be your wrecking ball. There is still a tier 2 top lane. They can't get megas here. But for sure this second Rax is in the bag, and oh, this is not good. You're a Pangolier, you're gonna get saved by the GG call. No, you're still dead actually. Okay, maybe that is what happened when I said earlier. Infamous Young, their later stage play, a little bit lacking. But you can see Infamous Young aren't